It's the Brian and Kindra Show with Brian Cook and Kindra Cox of Keller Williams Realty Elite.
I am Kindra Cox.
I'm Brian Cook.
Between the two of us, we have over 30 years of experience.
Sharing real estate tips and advice. Right here on Classic Hits 1073.
Hey, good afternoon. It's the Brian and Kindra Show. I am Brian Cook.
I am Kindra Cox. We are with Keller Williams Realty Elite.
And we are excited to be here today to talk about, we're going to talk about some inspection stuff again.
Kind of. So different than inspection, but similar to inspection.
Yes. So it's things that we're running into more and more lately. We're getting some more and more USDA buyers. So USDA, we're jumping right into it. I need to stop.
I know. What is your problem? Obviously, I need to take control. I was just trying to gather my wits. So usually you're the one that's late, right?
Yes.
I mean, I'm late to work. Okay, what was that joke you saw yesterday?
Yes. It was at Focus Energy.
It was the Energy Factor Nutrition.
Yes.
I have to say the initials
And
in my head.
At the top of the board, it said, it said you've been late 3 times this week. Do you know what that means? And
it's Wednesday.
Wednesday.
All right, so that is usually me in the morning, but here I'm never late to radio because
You weren't late?
I wasn't late. I was not late actually.
Yeah.
Like I walked in and I think we had 45 seconds to go.
Something.
Stinking
I was still
awesome.
working on the camera.
Yeah, but you always panic me when you do that.
I do. Oh, I forgot to do
Brian
that.
didn't get scared or panicked, did he? No. He never does. He probably was wishing I wouldn't make it.
Oh man, we'd have had I could have ran this one.
I'd have just gone home and taken a nap. All right, so it's been a crazy week. How many times today did you say, oh, it's Thursday? Oh, we have radio.
Once.
Nuh-uh, you said it a lot. It's been absolutely stinking crazy.
I might have said that like 20 minutes ago.
Did you really say it again? Golly,
She
I'm
said
lucky he
something. I
made
said,
it.
What? Today's Thursday?
Oh my gosh, it's been absolutely insane. All right, so one of the things that you told me this week, you're like, oh, we talked about that on the radio, and I can't remember what it was, but it's on my list. But look at my list. So
Well, we got some things to talk about.
yeah, and that's not even a full
That's like
list.
next week.
Okay, so we had a closing this week, which was super duper exciting. Really sweet buyer and a really sweet seller. Really, really fun. Awesome closing. But whenever we went and did the final walkthrough, and I say we, I mean me.
Yeah, because
I think you might have. I think we
softballing.
kind of forgot to schedule it, honestly. And like last second, I was like, oh. So I met her there real quick, and we went through, and there were a couple of things that had been on our checklist that weren't completed. But we had a negative surprise. I hate negative surprises. So I walked into the garage, and that's where the utility area is. And the seller, when she moved her washer and dryer, she didn't, you might have to use words, she didn't cap the...
Right, the valves leak, and they almost always leak at the washer machine.
So it's just like a thing that happens, right? But since she didn't cap them, then it had leaked for, I don't know, she's been out of the house like a month, 6 weeks. So it had been leaking that whole time, just going right down into the wall. And so we had a little bit of a mildew issue on the sheetrock and had to do some really fast, fancy work to pull out the sheetrock, dry off the insulation, re-sheetrock, and get ready for closing. So it all worked out, but it was a really good reminder to us that when you move, whenever you change fridges, don't forget to do something. Refrigerator lines, I keep saying refrigerator like that's a word. Hey, is your refrigerator running? Better catch it. Okay, so your refrigerator line, water line is another.
Ice maker, yep. Mm-hmm.
Yes, thank you. That's the right. That's what.
Yeah,
you're right. You don't need me.
That's the water part of your fridge. But yeah, those are the big 2 things that we've seen.
Is there anything else?
The refrigerator line that runs the water and ice maker, and then your washer dryer. And the washer dryer, they are valves. Valves are made to shut off.
Right.
They shouldn't leak, but it's something to do with the fact that you keep running water and it corrodes a little bitty groove, and then you can't shut them off because they've probably never been shut off before. I don't know, but it's frustrating.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, just something to be aware of because, I mean, obviously that could have been a huge negative if we would have.
Especially like it's in a house. And
right. What if it had been in
like we had that one on Red Cedar that the refrigerator line was leaking when I got there. And so we had to jump a little to get it managed.
So important stuff. Just pay attention. All right. Yep. So that was all I had on that. What do you got?
I don't know. Was there anything fun going on? School started today for Woodard people.
I know. My teacher friends are all exhausted now.
Oh, they're nap time.
Hey, Jordan, your wife, Mr. Brewer, Mrs. Brewer started school today. Is this her first year? Like I'm tired. I'm sorry. I was
There we go.
stealing
There's
the
the mic.
microphone.
Yes, this is her first year.
That's exciting. How'd she do? Did you talk to her?
I have not had a chance to talk to her yet.
Oh,
my
no.
gosh, it's
I'm
like
sure she was
5:30.
wonderful and loved it. And she won some kind of a teacher prize thing.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, that's
New
so
car?
stinking. No,
New
it's
car.
some school
No.
supplies or something.
Yeah, from
right?
Farmers Insurance. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Sweet.
cool. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
I love it. So congrats to her. That'll be so fun.
Yeah,
she's
she's-
going to be tired, just FYI.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
First
my
year,
gosh.
there is no, like they always say, there's no tired, like first year teacher tired. There's no tired, like end of school teacher tired. And there is no tired, like a first year of teaching teacher tired.
Yeah.
Oh, my Lanta.
I remember.
Even you were tired, right?
Yes.
Like, you don't really get tired. You're like the Energizer Bunny.
I don't know about that.
It's weird.
I was yawning last week on the show the whole time.
But that's, I mean, honestly, that's unusual for you to be like that. So,
Especially 20 years ago when I was young.
oh, God, man. I don't know. I tried it when I wasn't young and it about killed me. Okay, anyway, so fun. First day of school. Make sure you're really nice to her.
Yes.
Yes. Take her ice cream.
I could do that.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
do
Sweet.
that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I
Did
want.
you send your wife
but-
flowers? Because I did.
Oh no. Uh-oh.
See?
No, for first day of school. Oh, you're in trouble.
I am in trouble.
Oh,
man.
I
no.
have
you
to get
do?
a lot of ice cream.
Here's what you do is you do it for
Rent
next
a Walmart
Monday
on your
because you
way.
want her to enjoy it the whole first week.
Yeah, that
That's
makes sense.
right.
Yeah.
That's
that way.
right.
But they have to do that too because it's her birthday. So she got
Yep.
flowers this week and next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then what she expect the week
I'm gonna
after
go
that?
buy myself ice cream. Alrighty, so
Oh.
that's interesting. Hey, did you remember your market stats?
Yes.
Where are they? Did you remember them? You forgot them, didn't you?
No.
After I drove all the way across town so fast to get
No,
stuff,
because I
could
got
have
them out
got
of the
them.
trash. Because I was like, where are them things at? And I remember taking some out of my pocket
You
and throwing
threw
it away.
them away?
I did, but I got them now.
Oh my. Okay, so what do we got? Is it an interesting week on paper?
It's exactly the same as last week, except
of course
different.
it is. Did you even update them?
I did. They are different. Okay, a year ago, today we had 61 listings on the market that are active residential. A year ago, there were 93. So if you're out looking to buy, there's not much selection. We had 5 new listings
Let's
this week.
talk about that. I'm totally interrupting you.
Do it.
Okay, so before we take it, did you hear that? License to
I
interrupt
gave
my
you
boss.
permission.
Andy signed my paycheck today. That was a real bonus. Okay, so when we take a new listing, we do a comparative market analysis, and we talked about that a long time ago on the show. We might kind of review that again sometime, but we compare the property that we want to list to properties that are currently on the market that would be competitive listings, and then also to properties that have recently sold that would be similar. That would be comparable sold comps. So today. Actually, I did 3 today. I did 3 CMAs today, and all 3 of them were nearly impossible to do a really effective CMA on, between square footage or bedrooms or whatever the case would be. There are so few similar things that they would compete against.
Right.
It was really tough. So when we say inventory is low, we're saying it's so low, it's hard for me to come up with a real scientifically proved, is that mathematically proved? Is it science or math? I mean,
Mathematical science.
it feels like a science, dang it. Anyway, it's hard. It's hard right now to come up with a good listing price because there are so few things to compare it against.
Yep. And it's part of the game. So
Yes.
we have to just that's why we have a
So
great
I
spreadsheet.
just
You
did a spinny wheel.
You just spin the wheel like, hey.
and then I was like, this is the right number.
And then you go, wait, I'm going to call my neighbor, ask them.
That's not really
What do
what
you
I
think
did.
my house is worth? Then ask your brother. Okay,
I do love that.
that's a whole new show. Oh wait, your brother isn't.
Stop.
That's not what I meant. I just meant ask a family member. Sorry, John. That's not what I meant.
John's like, yeah, she has to ask me because I know more than her. Whatever. When are we playing tetherball, bub? When are we playing tetherball? All
How
right.
old is he again?
I can't tell you.
Okay, we're gonna get in trouble.
We're going to get in way
Okay.
trouble. Surely he doesn't listen, right?
I know because he's older than us.
Now you're in trouble too.
Okay,
Just looks
so
older.
new listings. We had 5 new ones this week. There are 19 pending. Last week there was 25. There's only 2 new pending this week. That's been a slow week.
I'm working on it, man. I'm working on
sorry.
it.
We have a bunch of land stuff going. Total residential don't even know what that is. Pending in Northwest Oklahoma is 31.
I knew you made this stuff up.
Okay. So it's been great. So closings in Woodward. We had 2 new pending contracts. We had 7 closings in Woodward last week. We moved some houses, but we're still at 2.65 months of inventory, which we've been kind of hovering there for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks. So still not much selection. Still people are buying. And that's what we're going to be talking about today is we have listed a whole bunch of low dollar price houses. We're going to have some in the $50,000 to $90,000 range that'll be a nice, comfortable payment, way cheaper than rent. That would be a great house to own.
Absolutely.
So let's have a quick break, and we'll come back and get to the subject. Hope. I think we're back. Are we back?
What
we're
was
back.
that?
Is that on? Well, I don't know. I was looking at our thing, and we were paused. We were like this. It didn't.
I have the Facebook Live open on my phone, and I accidentally paused it. Brian was a little stressed out.
I was like, hey.
All right, so we're back to Brian and Kindra Show, Keller Williams Realty Elite, and we are going to talk about some condition standards, and we're going to use some of these. We're going to be kind of loose with this because we are not the final decision makers.
Nope.
But because of what we do, we see a lot of different houses that go through USDA loans, FHA loans, VA loans. And occasionally, even we see requirements on a conventional loan. And so we wanted to kind of just address those. We visited with someone today, and in our communications with her, it's so hard because a lot of us buy our houses with those types of loans. And so we think if it approved at that time that I bought my house, then it should approve the same when I go to sell my house. But that's not necessarily the case because the regulations change annually, right?
Right.
And so does the condition of my house.
Only 1,000 pages.
The FHA one was a 1,000-page handbook for the requirements. What? So did not make it through that. I didn't even open it. Like it stressed me out.
I searched and couldn't find what I needed.
No. But so actually my brother sent me this awesome USDA. Man, my brother's going to be so excited.
We're just going to send him a bill for marketing.
So, anywho. Okay, so he sent us this awesome checklist for USDA, like a home component inspection guide. So when we say an inspection, please understand first and foremost that when the appraiser goes for USDA, FHA, VA, conventional, they are not inspecting the house the same as a home inspector does.
Correct.
So they have specific things that they are looking for.
The short list is safe, secure, and sanitary.
Right. And that, I mean, a lot of times if we think of it that way, we can usually pinpoint things, but sometimes things surprise us. But we still recommend strongly a home inspection. As soon as you're under contract, I want to schedule it. Like that's how quick I want to get that done because that can really make or break the deal. And then sometime shortly after that, usually the appraiser comes and they have to evaluate some condition things, but also, of course, the number part. Is the house really worth what your contract is? So let's get into it.
It's just like the one today. We went and looked at the drain line for the air conditioner line runs right outside the house and drips.
Right.
It says drain outlets have to drain away from the house. So like it was dripping right next to the house and pooling next to the house. So these can be very detailed to very obvious.
Right.
I guess is what I'm saying. Things that you might not catch. And so the big deal on these USDA, FHA, HUD guideline stuff is the exterior is one of the biggest ones that get us. So painting, and you think that has nothing, that's just a cosmetic deal. Well, you can't have it has to have solid, tight, and good paint cover. So no holes or cracks. So that, man, it's like they want, and they're protecting themselves by loaning all of this money. So you move in, zero money down or little money down. They want to know that the house is in good condition and it won't.
The idea is that the house is going to last for 30 more years.
Right.
And so almost everything on this list is saying, in theory, if everything is tip-top shape, that in 30 years this house is still going to be standing and assumably worth whatever your payoff is over the next 30 years. That's not like really a true statement, but that's kind of how they're viewing it because the market goes up and down. So you can't really handle that. But condition-wise, is it still going to be standing? Will they be able to sell it? is it going to have any value?
Right.
So, okay, so let's talk about, you were just mentioned, I got distracted because I was working. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I forget to not work. But you were talking about the AC
Siding.
line. Siding.
Okay, siding.
So let's talk about siding. Okay, so what's the kind of siding on my house? It's like
Masonite?
It's masonite. Masonite is basically a pressed board. It's pressed wood, right?
Yes.
It's kind of like particle board.
Yes.
Isn't
it's
it?
really, yeah.
I mean, it's how it feels to me.
I mean, yes, it's not very.
So mine.
It's really cheap to make, and if it stays coated and painted, it'll stay for a long, long time.
So I moved into my house July of 2018 or 19. I don't know. You're so good with the number
18.
thing. Okay, so 2018. So September, I took off.
You've been working for me 3 years.
Can I get a raise? Okay, maybe not. All right, so somebody last week was like, "You pick on your boss." Maybe if I didn't pick on my boss,
You
okay.
get a raise, maybe.
All right. So anyway, that fall, I took off work for a couple of days and painted my house because I knew that siding needed to be painted or else it was going to deteriorate even worse than it already had. Different areas I needed to run caulking so that I could seal it up so that water could no longer penetrate and continue to deteriorate the material. And then other places I painted the whole house, but you get what I'm saying. So it's important for that to maintain the condition that it's in. Now, the bottom boards of mine, I know I need to replace them. Like I've seen a lot worse, but mine are getting bad enough that I'm starting to be like, oh my gosh. So
Let's just brick it.
there is no let's. Can I get that raised?
Let me watch you brick it.
It is me, myself,
You got the
and
grass
I, my
to grow.
friend.
I think
My grass is
if you can kill stickers and
amazing.
grow grass, you should be able to brick.
Branson, you cannot walk through my barefoot. Nope, you cannot walk through my yard barefoot yet, but it is so
close.
dang close. Like, except for the dog stuff.
Because it was
Got to work on that too.
It's all stickers when you bought it.
I have grass now. It's green. It's really cool. Okay,
back
you
to this.
totally took me off of track. The point being, those kinds of things are going to show up on appraisal. If I sold my
Yep.
house tomorrow to an FHA, USDA, VA buyer, that bottom board is going to have to be replaced or major work done to it
Yep.
to keep it in the condition that would pass an appraisal. So if there's a place on the house, like whenever I was painting it halfway up, there were some places of that masonite siding that were damaged. And so I sealed those and then I painted them. So those are fine now. But at that point, I could not have purchased my house with the USDA loan.
That's
So,
right.
Does this make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
To me, it does.
You're like, yeah, I see it every day. Okay. Trim. That's the other thing that we
Trim.
see a lot, like
'Cause it
fascia,
says right here,
soffits.
Trim has to be free of rot and excessive splits. So excessive is the definition. So I guess you can have trim that's split, but it can't be excessive. So define that.
Well, so that's what's really tricky. Whenever I started real estate in Woodward, it seemed like every single house had requirements for cracked and peeling paint.
You still
So
do.
I sold a house to one of my BFFs in Yukon, and I'm like, oh, there's no way this is going to pass. No way. Because I'd seen a lot better quality of wood not pass than Woodward, and she didn't have a single requirement on her appraisal. So appraisers can read this in a different way and have a different opinion of what the regulation means.
Yes. So we'll talk about appraisals another time, but they are just their opinion, and they do have to define. I mean, like we said, there's 1,000 pages on that FHA guideline. There is, here's a weird one. Did you know this? Back of door is free of mold and mildew
Oh, that's interesting. So like on the outside.
on the outside.
Wow. And see, that's something, okay, so we don't really see mold very often in Woodward because we're such a dry climate. So even in a house, even when we see black spots, it's typically a mildew. It's not, we don't even have very many. I think you have to get an inspector from Oklahoma City
Yes.
to inspect
We
for
had one
mold.
that was going to do a mold inspection this week, and the closest one they could find was in Oklahoma City, and he was going to charge $550.
Woo! And it can take a week or more for him to get up here.
Yes. So space requirements. We're talking about condition, not that.
My bad. I got distracted.
Smoke detectors, obviously, they want them. I didn't even check that
I
house
want
today.
them to work.
I didn't check that house today.
Weird.
So,
Oh, I should have cooked there.
that would have noticed real quick, unless the house got on fire.
It's not that.
Flooring, here's another one. Carpet and flooring that is heavily worn, damaged, stained should be replaced. So, We looked at a house 2 days ago, yesterday, maybe it's just yesterday.
Yep.
So a heavily worn floor, so it got some water damage, and it's that, I call it wallpaper-covered cardboard flooring, laminate, really cheap kind. It's probably 15, 18 years old, so they've got their money on it, but it leaked, water wicked up, and then the you can tell it's just worn the edges of it real bad because it did get wet. So like that right there tells me he may have to change that flooring out to sell it to FHA guy.
And I think too, we listed another one this week, and it's a fixer-upper, and we know that. But whenever it talks about cleanliness, so the safe, sound, and sanitary, I mean that carpet is at this point unsanitary, and so that would be a huge issue for FHA USDA.
Yeah. Here's another one. You have to have 7 foot of countertops.
Really?
Yep. Should be at least 7 foot.
Interesting.
Mine
Start
barely
taking my
has that
tape measure with me on showings.
in my island.
Yeah, whatever. Oh, my Lanta. All right. What else? What have you got?
Okay, so
Actually, we need to take a really fast
yeah, we
break.
do. Gosh darn. Okay, we
I know
only
you were
have
just getting
6 more
started.
pages.
Okay, we'll be right
Yeah,
back.
we're back. That was Sherwin-Williams, and obviously it seems like every home inspection that we do lately has had some paint. So
Absolutely.
they will do a great job matching. So the one we did today, we took a piece of trim off. I'm going to take it down and get matching. I'm going to help them get the color matched. So they're going to come do some painting this weekend. So we're going to help them out there. So like the one we're doing today, like we went out and looked at the house and we gave her a list of stuff to do to get it ready for the USDA potential buyer. Because a majority of the houses we're selling today, again, I want to emphasize that, are no money down USDA or low money down FHA loans, or, the no money down VA loans. We don't do as many as them around here, but all of those are a higher higher inspections. And again, the appraiser they inspect safe, secure, and sanitary. They kind of have this list and check all those things for condition. So one of the other big ones is the GFCI, which is the ground fault circuit indicators. And they're anywhere around 6 feet from water. So kitchen sink, bathroom sink, garages, outdoors. All of those have to have GFCI plugs.
Okay, go ahead and tell what a GFCI is.
Ground fault circuit indicator.
I always say it backward, and I don't know why. But what that means is if I splash water and it's supposed to click off.
Yes. So
it's a safety.
Yes. So there's a ground, it's pulling a different.
I don't mean for you to get technical.
Okay.
I just mean that it's a safety thing. So we
Yes.
put that beside our kitchen sink and beside our bathroom sinks. And
You won't get electrocuted.
right. Yes. And then outside too. Actually, they need to be outside as well.
Yep. So that's what those are for. And that's a big, we do that. We have to have that done.
I don't.
I don't either. I quit doing those.
Oh,
I heard it was illegal.
All the electricians just rolled their eyes.
Yes.
All right. So back in the day, whenever I started this game, I feel like I saw a lot of
Water heaters.
requirements to raise water heaters and a lot of requirements to properly vent furnaces and water heaters.
Yes.
I don't feel like we see that as much anymore, but
I think
it's still
the code
there.
is caught up. So Woodward code was, I think, behind there in 2000s. I'm not sure. We got a new code inspector, David. He's a little more rule follower.
Uh-huh.
And so things are safer and better. And our appraisers now require, so in the garage we went to today, the water heater was not raised.
Right.
Because it was not gas.
Right. So whenever I say raise the water heater, I'm only referring to gas water heaters that are.
Correct.
Do they have to be raised if they're in the house or only if they're in the garage?
Garage is because of safety, because of the fumes of the flame. If you spark in the garage, it keeps it away from that.
Okay, so here's another big one that we see a lot. How many inspections have we seen recently in appraisals both that have required the
Temperature pressure relief valve.
Yeah, thanks.
Yes. So it's just the extension. So the pipe on the side that if it does, if it gets too pressurized, it releases the pressure so it doesn't explode. That valve has to be 6 inches off the extension has to be 6 inches off the floor.
It's the most frustrating thing because I know these things. I don't know the danged words. Like I could picture it right now, exactly what it looks like on the water heater and what the little spigot looks like, the PVC pipe that goes down to the ground. But whenever it comes to saying them, I'm like, do I know? I don't know if I know. Okay, so what else do we see? What's the craziest thing you've seen?
Oh, shoot.
Okay, I had a VA loan out in the country 100 years ago. Not really, but it's been quite some time. And he made me have what is it called? Like an environmental survey, an environmental inspection.
To verify if there wasn't any old storage tanks or landfills or anything like that.
So what's funny was back then it was Lot Taylor. This was 100 years ago. Not really, but I mean, it feels like it because I'm a dinosaur. But, he always was he just said it like he meant it. And he goes, I think someone's picking on you. And I got really tickled because I thought in the past he was the one picking on me. And that day he goes, who is this person? And it was Hillman Tell.
Oh, yeah.
Tillman Howell. I said his name backward. And he wasn't picking on anybody. He really felt like there was a need.
Yeah.
But man, it kind of made things get a little bit tricky there.
So the craziest thing is my old house that I sold on Brook Circle.
Yes.
FHA required me to fill. I'd worked on my sprinkler system and I had a hole, and then my daughter was there and dug a bigger hole. Daughter's dog dug a bigger hole. I had to fill the hole. That was just
Well, it's a tripping hazard.
I know.
Makes me think of Harley Sadler. I miss him too. Man, I miss all these guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, if you thinking that you might want to sell your house, give us a shout. We'd be happy to go through this with you and kind of show you the things that we know. We can't pinpoint all of them, but we can sure help you have a head start.
Yep. And we love getting our first-time home buyers and young families and all those into these low-income houses. We got awesome, cheap interest and opportunities. So give us a call, and we will go show you some houses. And thanks for listening.